Welcome to One Move at a Time, the U.S. Chess podcast that explores people and organizations who are advancing our educational mission to empower people, enrich lives, and enhance communities through chess. Our goal is to give you ideas and methods you can use in your own community to help you build chess in your area, one move at a time. Make sure to listen to our family of U.S. Chess podcasts, which include Cover Stories with Chess Life on the first Tuesday of each month, in which Chess Life editor John Hartman goes more in-depth with each month's cover story, Ladies' Night, which drops on the third Tuesday of each month, and that is hosted by our Women's Program Director Jennifer Shahade, and on the fourth Tuesday of each month, Chess Underground, hosted by our Assistant Director of National Events, Pete Karianis, in which he examines the game's eccentricities, peculiarities, and theoretical novelties. All can be found at the podcast link on Chess Life Online at uschess.org, or by subscribing via Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, or Spotify. Now, let's welcome our guest to this month's podcast. Welcome to the April edition of One Move at a Time. Our guest today is International Master Greg Shahade, who founded the U.S. Chess School in 2006 that is resuming classes this year in a victory for a post-COVID world. He also founded the New York Masters and the U.S. Chess League, which is now known as the Pro Chess League. He's a former member of the executive board of the U.S. Chess Federation. Greg has won 3 national scholastic championships. He tied for first in both the 1993 National Junior High Championship and the 1996 National High School Championship, and outright won the 1996 U.S. Junior Open. He is also a winner of the prestigious Samford Fellowship, annually awarded by the U.S. Chess Trust to the top U.S. prospect under the age of 25. He won that in 1999. His dad is FIDE Master Michael Shahade, and his sister Jennifer is a 2-time U.S. Women's Champion in her own right, and our U.S. Chess Women's Program Director. Greg Shahade, welcome to the One Move at a Time podcast.
Thanks. Really exciting to be here. I didn't know I won 3. I forgot about the Junior Open, so that's nice.
Yes. So most people haven't even won a local club tournament, and you're forgetting about national championships you've won?
Well, you know, I played in it to get to the junior close. That was the whole goal. And then I would have made it by rating anyway, but I didn't know that. So.
Okay. I've never even won a chess trophy of any sort.
Oh, really? Yeah. Soon.
This is in a world of participation trophies.
Uh-huh.
So, well, I want to talk a little bit about your chess history. It's not uncommon these days to grow up in a chess family, but a chess family that is so accomplished. FIDE Master as a dad, IM for the brother, Women's Champion as for the sister. Talk about what that life was like growing up.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's the only life I've known. I don't know what it's like to be in a not chess family. Back when I wasn't really even playing, like I always knew the rules when I was like a kid, you know, but I think my version of knowing the rules was stronger than like other kids who kind of just learned the rules and knew how to play, because I was constantly like just sparring with my mom and my dad, you know. But they would have tournaments at the house where they would just play, like all the best players in Philadelphia would just come by and play like little round robin blitz tournaments. And I didn't know what I was doing. I was like 6 years old or something. But I mean, I probably being around that action all the time. And I was a curious kid. I was always like trying to like mess around with chess pieces and chess books. So I think I got like a little chess education before I actually even tried to. Because I my first tournament was like 4th grade, which is like really, really late these days for the top kids. But back then it was pretty early. So it's funny how the rules have changed a bit.
So did your dad, was this just a fait accompli that you and Jennifer were going to be chess players, or did...
No, it was kind of an accident. Well, I don't know. But like, I kind of got into chess there was an event in middle school. There was like a chess club, and I decided to go. I think like they weren't trying to push me into it. But then I went to like this chess club at my school, and I was 4th grader, and it went up to 8th grade. And I don't even remember asking like my parents about it or them pushing me to go. I just went, and the first day I went, I beat everybody. Like they all just lined up to play me. They're like, "Who is this like little child who's just beating us all?" And at that moment I was hooked. I was like, oh, I'm actually like good at this. I mean, like on a level where like it wasn't normal for me, like just random young child to just be beating older kids at things. And they're like in awe of me. They're like I'm some kind of chess god. And I like that feeling. And I think at that point, you know, my dad's a very serious chess player. So he like took me to a tournament. The school had like a chess club and they knew about chess tournaments. So I started to play and, you know, take it seriously. I had a lot of fun playing. So it just kind of went from there. And then, you know, Jen got into it later.
I have to assume your dad was your chess coach for a long time.
Oh, totally. I mean, he also would, you know, have like, he would pay for other coaches too when I got stronger. But I mean, he taught me a lot, a lot of things when I was younger.
How old were you the first time you beat him?
Gosh, you know, what does beat mean? Like a blitz game or a slow game?
Well, let's call it a slow game.
I don't know the answer regardless of the question. Because, you know, eventually you get to a point where it just happens. Like, let's say I'm 1800, right? Like I'm going to beat him sometimes. And then it's not just once, it'll happen like multiple times. So yeah, I don't really remember because probably he also did the thing where he like let me win or wouldn't play that hard against me sometimes.
And you're Jennifer's big brother, not her little brother, right?
Yeah, I'm 2 years older.
And what I've got to imagine the competition between the two of you must have been intense, or was it more completely let's help each other out?
You may have to ask her. Sometimes competition. But, you know, it was like we had weird trajectories where she got into it a little later. So like by the time she started taking it serious, I was already like really like high, like 23 something. And she was like 1500. So there was like a period, like a large period of our youth where it wasn't competitive just because of the gap and when we started to take chess seriously. So it was kind of like more of a rooting thing. I was like, oh my gosh, like my sister might actually become like really good at chess too. That's cool. And so I was just rooting for her to make expert and master. Oh, and also we were in a high school trying to win the national high school championship. She didn't list that one, but that wasn't because we did win my senior year. And for that, I needed her to be we needed her to be as strong as possible. Right. Like she was the key player on the team. And I think that year she was like about master. So like that was really, really helpful and we won the championship. So I'd say it's like more of like a team type thing, although we did have our competitive moments.
Well, let's pivot to the U.S. Chess School because that's actually why I reached out to you. I saw an email come through that you're resuming it this I guess late spring, early summer.
Although before we go on any more further, we've been doing it for the last 2 years online. So we've been having regular classes nonstop throughout the pandemic. Early in the pandemic, we would have like 80 to 100 of the top kids in the country showing up. Now that things are going on and school's in session, it's more like 30 per class, but it's still, you know, really strong coaches, really strong players. But yes.
Well, take us through the history. What was the germ of the idea, and you know, and who's going to be participating this year?
When did it begin and why did it begin?
Yeah, let's start there.
Well, you know, I thought it would have been a really cool thing to have existed when I was a kid playing chess, and it kind of didn't exist. You know, it's regular top level classes for strong players. They would have like these little things every now and then, but I wanted something like really consistent and like exclusive, but also inclusive. Like, so I just decided to put it together. You know, at the time I was playing poker, I had a lot of free time and I was doing well financially. I thought I could just make this happen. And I did. And since then we have a lot of sponsors now. We got Dr. Jim Roberts sponsoring us. We got Chessable. We have chess.com sponsoring us. We have a lot of people who are helping us now. But yeah.
What is the selection process?
The selection process is interesting. It depends. Like it depends on who the coach is. it depends on who applies. And then I kind of look at the names and the ratings and the ages and try to figure out like what makes the most sense. So some camps, we get like a lot of interest from like really strong players. Like we had one camp where 4 of our students were grandmasters, which is like not normal for a chess camp. But that was because Jacob Agard was coaching, and a lot of these kids really wanted to see him in action. So we had grandmasters, international masters as students in the camp. But more common is like we'll have, like let's say like the kids will be young, but the ratings will be like 2,000 to 2,200-ish. Every now and then we go even younger, and it's like 1,900 to 2,100, and sometimes it's like a little in between, like 2,200 to 2,400. It kind of just depends. We try to run a good mix of them for younger, older, serious. I mean, everyone's serious, but some when you're older, you're like 2,300, and you're younger, you're like 2,000. So you just like a little gap in strength, and we try to like put everyone together in a similar group.
What are the age ranges or age limits?
There's no limit, honestly, but like, I'm probably the oldest student we've ever had, maybe 18 or 19. The youngest we've ever had, I think, was 7. It was probably Abhimanyu, who is now the youngest grandmaster ever. But yeah, there's no real limit. Like sometimes there'll be a camp with a bunch of younger kids, but sometimes it's nice to throw in like a few older, like more mature, stronger players to like kind of like for them to learn from and kind of like challenge the younger talented kids.
Give us some names. Who are some of the more prominent names through U.S. chess ranks who have?
I mean, literally every single young player in the last 15 years has been there at camp, with almost no exception.
Wanda Liang.
Yeah, of course. I mean, he's been to like 5 or 6 of them. Hans he's been to about 5 of them. When he started, he was like a 1900, whippersnapper. Every single one, like Ray Robson, Jeffrey Zhang, Sam Sevian.
And you've already mentioned Abi.
Like all of them.
And who? Yeah. And you mentioned Jacob as a coach. Who are some of the other prominent coaches you've had at these camps?
Well, we've had Sam Shanklin's cool because he's a coach, but he also was a student at one of our camps. So it's always cool when they go from student to coach. Oh, also Alex Ostrovsky also went from student to coach. Gregory Kaidanov was the coach in our early days. He hasn't done it in a while, but he was a regular coach. Aviv Friedman has coached a bunch. There's a lot of them. I want to make sure I don't forget people. I've coached a decent number of them. A bunch more people. The names are like blank. A lot of great coaches, like Ben Feingold's done some. John Bartholomew did one. I apologize if I forgot to mention your name, and if you're listening, and I forgot to mention, because we've had like at least 5 or 6, 7 other coaches. I'm just like blanking
and this
at the moment.
So the school it's a nonprofit entity, correct?
Yes, it is.
So talk about the funding. How are you paying coaches? Where's the money coming from?
Like I mentioned, we have sponsors. I mentioned a bunch of them earlier, but
do the campers have to pay anything?
Oh, well, they have to. They don't have to pay for the classes, and in some locations they don't have to pay for their hotel and room and board. Like St. Louis, whenever we have a camp there, they hook us up with like nice lodging and conditions for everyone. But at other camps, usually they'll have to pay for like their travel and lodging. But we also hold the camps in relatively big cities where there is a large concentration of strong chess players. So like we do them in New York a lot, where like half the kids are probably local anyway. We do them in LA, San Francisco. So we get a lot of local kids for those. But they never have to pay anything for the training itself.
And another entity that you founded was at the time called the U.S. Chess League. It's now known as the Pro Chess League.
Oh, yeah.
Another major item where nothing existed before, and you created something out of whole cloth. Let's do the same exercise. Talk about what was the germ of the idea for that. There were certainly other chess leagues had been attempted before it.
Yeah.
I imagine you identified some places where you could improve. So I'm curious to hear about that process.
Well, there was this telephone league. I don't know if you know about the telephone league from like
I do.
the late 70s, early 80s. It was before my time, but my dad always talked about it. And I'm like, what the heck? We can play chess on the internet now. And they had a league back then when you couldn't do that. They had to do all kinds of ridiculous things to run this league. So I'm like, I should just put this together. And I just talked to like a few people. Like I got like somebody in like San Francisco. I talked to John Donaldson. I talked to my sister for like New York area. I talked to Pascal Charbonneau in Baltimore. And I just got like 3 or 4 people involved from different cities. And they were all like super enthusiastic. So I was like, okay, I should just do this. Like the world was ripe for it at the time. And we managed to get like 8 cities. So started really nice and small and compact and ran a chess league. It's totally different than the league looks now, but I think it was really cool thing back then.
Right. So what does the Pro Chess League look like now?
Now
It's the home base for it is chess.com, correct?
Yeah. We're in the middle of like kind of figuring that out. It's going to be really exciting, whatever it is, but it's going through like a transition phase, I guess I could say. But I can't really give too many more details. But I can say the last few seasons we've had, it's become more of a worldwide league with like teams from all over the world, like every country, China, Russia, Germany, England, all the countries. Top players in the world playing. So it used to be more like a US regional type thing. And now we've had Magnus play. We have Hikaru play every season. Wesley So. Like basically every top player in the world has played. It's sometimes almost no exception, honestly. Like Anand played, Ding Liren played. I don't know who hasn't played. There's probably somebody up there, but I can't quite figure out who it is.
And now this, unlike the U.S. Chess School, this is a for-profit entity, right?
I guess that's what you call it. I don't know. Can something be? Is it either for-profit or non-profit? There's nothing in between. Okay, then it's for-profit.
That's pretty much it. And are you? So then the other question is: are you turning a profit? Do you have
I don't know. I mean, chess.com knows that. Like they're just right now. Like I'm just paid as the commissioner of the league.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And well, I mean, I know you just said that there's some things coming down the pike that you can't give away, but do you have any kind of this grand vision of where this might be in 10 years?
Yeah. Like real big, huge. But it's hard to I can't really say too much right now.
Okay.
Forgive me.
No, that's okay. I could try the old thing about it's just you and me talking. We'll keep it to myself. But I think I've already told you I was recording this, so I probably can't get away with that.
Mm-hmm.
Well, let's take a step back again and look at your scholastic career, because it was accomplished, and it was also at a time when scholastic chess in the United States was a very different animal than it is now.
Yeah.
Talk a bit about what the difference, these main differences were for you coming up in the 90s versus what you see now.
Oh, one main difference is back then I was like one of the best. Like I was superstar, and now in my same level, if you drop me into today's atmosphere, I would be good, but not. There's a lot of people who are out of this world good, right? So probably if I was playing then, I would also be a little stronger because I would have had access to some of these resources. But the players now, the young kids, are just insane good. There was nobody that was at least in my era, there was nobody that was just insane, where I just felt like they were because the US didn't have that many superstars back then. Whereas now we do. We have kids who are at the top of the world for their age, in almost every age bracket. We got Christopher Yu, he's coming up. We got Abhimanyu, a wonder. So many of them. Nakamura, of course, but he was 10 years after me.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I probably just forgot to list a bunch of others who were like in the top 50, like Sam Shanklin's top 30 in the world, right? So they're just everywhere, like superstars now.
I should mention that as this show airs, so we're recording this the week of the National High School Championship this year,
Oh,
and this will air or this will drop right after its completion. So, and of course, that certainly holds a place in your heart since that's one of the three that you won.
yo, I wanted to win that so bad. It was like my life dream, and it was my last year and my last chance. And it was, thank God I won it. Thank God I won it, and the team won it. That was also really important.
So, for the individual championship, did it come down to a last round game for you, or?
It did. I had to win, and I did. Thank goodness. My opponent was crying. I was winning, and they were crying at the board once I had made like the winning move.
Okay, well, I was going to ask who your opponent was, but now I won't.
No, well, I mean, whatever. He was much younger than me at the time. He was a 9th grader, and I was a 12th grader. So I can see why that would happen. It's like a really emotional thing playing those last round games. You have all these dreams of being being the champion, and it's just one game. And he could have beat me on a different day. Just on this day, I happened to win the game.
And being a 9th grader doesn't have anything to do with it because I'm 57 and I'll cry after a game.
Yeah.
I guess another real key difference is not just that there weren't as many top players, that the bench wasn't as deep. And now it feels like anybody in the top 20, top 30 could win on any given day.
In like the high school championship, for example. Yeah, right, I mean, there's just so many masters now, like so many that are like 13 years old, 14-year-old masters. Like I was a master at 14, and I think when I got that rating, I was 2nd in the country. And I think if you took my rating now and looked at the list, it would probably be like 15th or something like that.
And at that time, when you were you completed your high school career, were you thinking that you wanted to become a professional chess player?
Sure. Yeah. Why not? That seems fun.
Were you actively pursuing a GM title?
Yeah. I mean, I got the Samford Fellowship. I got a GM norm. I got a little distracted by poker. Little distracted.
But not while you were using the Samford money, right?
No, it was like near the end of that.
Yeah. No. So this is actually something that I've never heard anyone discuss. So this could be interesting. Is how did you spend that Samford year? Do you use the money to study full time with coaches, or is it?
I traveled to tournaments. I would hire coaches and stuff. What's funny about it is I think. I was young. I was like 19 or something. Like 19-year-olds are basically idiots about like, I don't know what to do with this money. I mean, I did just I got some lessons. I go play some tournaments, but I feel like I would use it better if I was older, maybe. I don't know. I mean, I should have become a grandmaster. Like I probably should have become one because I had the skill and the talent. I just kind of got a little distracted. But yeah, I would travel. I played in Groningen. They would run like round robin tournaments that cost like a fee to enter. I would play in a lot of those. I would get lessons with Kaidana. I'd go to like Kentucky and train with him for a week. I got lessons with Dovreski before, so that was fun.
And you were so 19 is when you got the Samford Fellowship, and it wasn't too much later that you were elected to the executive board at U.S. Chess at the age of 26. One thing the governance committees are always talking about, let's get young blood into our governance structure. And it's a tough ask. It's a tough get. You were one of the rare young bloods that got involved. What was the reason that you decided you wanted to get involved in the sometimes vicious world of U.S. chess politics?
I mean, I don't know about vicious because I didn't care. Nothing bad could happen really. I don't know. I'm very idealistic, I guess, at the time. But yeah, it's hard to get much done. There's a lot of, I don't know, what politics, is that what they're called? Or just people would talk about annoying things that didn't matter. And we have to like consider things that I didn't think were necessary. Like there's, I can give a story. There was this one case of like this guy for FIDE. I don't remember his name. Vega. There was a guy who came to talk to us, and like at the time, FIDE was like super corrupt. Like right now, FIDE, they're not perfect. They do some weird things sometimes, but for the most part, they seem like they're doing decently. I'm not like they're at probably the high mark that they've been at in my entire lifetime. But back then, FIDE was just like, they had like crooks, like they had like vice presidents who were just like doing shady things all over the place. Oh, Kirsan was like running the organization, giant criminal. And then we had this guy come talk to us, and like I'm like, why should we listen to anything this guy says? He's like completely corrupt. And like they kind of told me, yeah, but like they're gonna win the election, so we should kind of back them. And I'm like, I don't know, it just seemed ridiculous, the whole thing, like to just back the guy that we know is corrupt because we know they're going to win, and if we don't do that, they're going to like maybe like not give us some little extra resource. Just the whole thing seemed ridiculous to me.
Okay, so there's at least one thing that I think you were passionate about then, and because I went back and I looked at our email history, and because you were on that executive board when I was hired.
Yeah,
and
I remember that.
Your first email to me was that you were very anxious to talk about Chess Life magazine and improving it.
Oh,
and you had
you did that.
You had a lot of ideas about it. Just hopefully it became kind of what you were hoping it would become.
Oh yeah, it got better. I can't remember what my ideas were, what problems I had with it. It was like, what, 15, 20 years ago?
Yeah.
15 years ago? Yeah.
15, yeah.
What did I say?
I honestly...
What did I want you to do?
Yeah, I don't remember. I think we must have talked on the phone because the email was just that you wanted to talk and we scheduled a call.
Oh, okay.
So...
Yeah, I don't know. I like Chess Life. It's a fun magazine.
Oh, yeah. Well, it's great now under John Hartman's editorship. So... where it's become much more chess focused because I certainly had more of a human interest focus, and he likes more of the hard chess, and it seems to be a very popular view.
I like it all.
A healthy balance is good, which kind of brings me to something else I've been really interested to talk to you about, and that is your fitness regime.
You want me to do something right now?
Well, I think most of our listeners are going to be listening and not watching the video on YouTube. However, listeners, maybe we may have something special for you on that score. But it's CrossFit. It's where you focus your energies, right?
Yes. But CrossFit is a kind of thing where it allows you to kind of do other things pretty like I could run if I had to. I could run a half marathon tomorrow and be like fine. Because CrossFit kind of trains you for stuff like that.
So I'm sure we have a lot of people who have no idea or have never heard of CrossFit. So talk a little bit about that. And then I want to get into how getting into top level shape has helped your chess game.
CrossFit is like a combination of like weightlifting, strength training, cardio, and like kind of gymnastics, body weight, calisthenics type things. So one thing that CrossFit tries to do is make sure that you're balanced. It's not just one thing, and they take the strength real seriously. Like if you go to other places, like Orange Theory, I don't know if people know what Orange Theory is. I actually think Orange Theory is great, and they call it strength training, but it's not really. Like a lot of these places, you do like these little baby weights and they call it strength training, but CrossFit, like strength training is like real heavy stuff. Like they're not messing around. So I don't know why I'm saying this part, but yeah, it's like just a combination of everything. And some things I'm better at, some things I'm less good at, but it kind of keeps you prepared for all aspects of fitness. Every day it's like different because of that. So like you'll do totally different, varied types of workouts on a given day. And some days I'm going to go in and I know I'm going to do pretty good. And some days I'm like, oh my God, I'm terrible at this. But, I go in anyway because it's fun. It's good to do stuff you're not great at.
Right. And have you noticed that it's helped your chess game in any way, just because it's easier to sit at the board for a long time?
Well, the problem is my chess career over the board hasn't really coincided with my CrossFit career. So there's no way to test that. It's possible that it has. But actually the thing, one problem is like CrossFit is so important to me that it makes me not want to play in chess tournaments, because it's hard to do, but it's hard to like play, especially in the US when you're playing 2 games a day. Like, where do you work out? When am I going to do my fitness? When am I going to eat decently? So it's like, it's almost makes me not want to play chess, because I really feel like a healthy lifestyle and a healthy schedule every day is important. And a lot of US chess tournaments don't have that. Some do. And I think they're getting better. The time control is getting a little faster, if I'm not mistaken, right? Mm-hmm. Which is definitely helpful, because it's like much more humane for, just living a normal lifestyle. So I'm excited to see that change, like starting to finally happen.
And is this something that you got from your father as well? Because my understanding is your father was a triathlete.
He did the Ironman in Hawaii, which is 26 miles. Well, it was a 2 point something mile
2.3
swim, 2.3 mile swim, 112-mile bike, and then a marathon at the end of it. I didn't get it from him, actually. I never worked out really until I was 33. And then I found CrossFit and I was like, oh, this is cool. I like it. But I think it helps. I think everything kind of helps in all areas of life. Like, I do think it's helped my chess a little bit, but there's no way for me to prove it. Because like when I play online now, I'm still like pretty much at my peak. Like my online ratings as good as it's ever been.
So I was actually wondering if you kind of stopped your over the board chess at the same time you started CrossFit, because it seems to me from following you on Facebook that it was about 7 or 8 years ago. And I noticed that your last over the board tournament was in 2015. Do these coincide?
I think it's when I played in 2015. I
think the last tournament I saw you in was the Marshall Master. What are the Masters events?
Oh, that's not even over the. It's like I show up at 7 p.m. and I play 4 games that night. I won the tournament though, right?
I'm sorry, I don't remember.
I did. I tied, I think, but I did win. I think it's a coincidence, honestly.
And what about the nutrition aspect? Do you have a nutrition, what you might call regime as well?
Not really. I mean, there was a time when I ate really well. Now I'm kind of like in between. Like I don't eat terrible, but I don't eat great. Like I don't drink ever, but I never drank, but I do eat like sweets, right? So if I was a little more serious about CrossFit, I would eat a little bit better, but I don't.
And another aspect of this that I find interesting is certainly when I was growing up, the idea of a pasty looking, no sunlight, skinny 98-pound weakling playing chess was almost a deserved stereotype. But that's really gone away.
Oh, yeah.
It seems like most people, the kids coming up now, have a much more rounded life.
Yeah, absolutely.
So what you're doing isn't as unusual as it might have been, say, 20 years ago.
Yeah, I don't think so. I mean, there's a lot of kids that like, look at Magnus. He's in good shape, right?
Oh, absolutely. And
I mean, a lot of these, everyone takes fitness. Almost everyone at the top takes some level of fitness seriously. Like Sam Shanklin's always running and going to the gym.
Talk a bit about your streaming and online chess life.
Sure. Well, I used to stream. I haven't really streamed in about a year or two, but what do you mean by online chess life? Like playing online?
Playing online. I mean, we've talked about the Pro Chess League, and that's an online entity. But you often appear on other people's streams and YouTube videos.
Oh, sure. Yeah, I've done that before. One thing I always think about chess is like when you compare chess and CrossFit. I know this is not exactly what you asked, but one great thing that I'm so thankful for when it comes to chess is that like, this is something I can literally do for the rest of my life. Like when I'm 80, 90, I mean, I probably can still play, right? I'll maybe get a little weaker, but like, it's a beautiful game. It's something that keeps your mind sharp and fresh forever. And that's like really good hobby to have, you know, like sometimes I see like pro basketball players or whatever, and then like it must be a little tough, right? When suddenly they can't quite do the thing that they've done their whole life. And chess, you can do it forever. And it's a beautiful game, and it's just like it fires all the synapses, and it feels good when you like find a nice little tactic in a game. I don't know. I was thinking about this today, so that's why I'm thinking about it a lot, actually. But hobbies that you can do for the rest of your life, I think are really, really valuable. And I think there's been like studies that it helps like against stuff like Alzheimer's and stuff like that. So playing chess online, you know, like I think it's just a great thing to have that you can just do and feel good. Sometimes you don't feel good when you play terribly, but
let me give a quick plug for something that we are doing at US Chess. We are partnering with the Alzheimer's Association for their Longest Day initiative. And if you are in a US Chess affiliate, there's a way of setting up a team and a fundraiser, and there's various things that we are doing at US Chess to promote it. If you're interested in that information, just write me at dlucas@uschess.org, and I will get you that info. I'll also link to it on the show notes. So you just made me think about that as you mentioned Alzheimer's there, Greg.
Oh yeah.
So Greg, probably the thing people often think about you that know you is you are opinionated. So tell us, what do you think needs to be fixed in the chess world? What's wrong with it right now?
I'm still opinionated, but I'm a little quieter these days, you know. I'm going to be honest. Okay, I do have one thing, but it's not quite about the chess world. Number one, I think the chess world is doing really a lot of good things. Like kind of all the things I've wanted it to do, it's been slowly doing throughout the years. And it's just like we're in the middle of a chess boom, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, you might know more than me, but it's especially online, it seems like just the chess world is exploding. Like somebody like Levy.
Oh, well, we called it a golden age of chess on a Chess Life cover story.
It's like this guy got like Gotham Chess, right? Like I'm going to some party in Vancouver and just random kids who don't even have a chess rating, they know Gotham Chess. They're like, do you know Gotham? Oh my God. Mm-hmm. That's really good. We got the Queen's Gambit. So like chess is just doing really well from all directions. I am very, very optimistic about the future, and I'm very pleased with the way it's going, which is that's not been my usual story over the last like 5 to 10 years, but that's kind of the way it's going now. One thing I do think, I've been thinking about this a lot recently, is kind of like the focus on chess skill as opposed to like other things you do with chess, and just kind of like loving chess, because like there's a lot of obsession with ratings and how good somebody is. There's a lot of even players themselves, they're like obsessed with getting better, which is fine. It's good to get better, but you know, I don't know. Sometimes like these books, like you can just enjoy them without worrying about whether it will make you a better chess player. But I feel like the big focus for almost every chess book is, will it make you better at chess? Do you know what I mean?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, chess opening books are, by far the best sellers.
But chess is a beautiful game.
Right.
It's
and
just like
there's a big tent that can encompass lots of different ways of enjoying the game. I think of a Christopher Yu who, is not only on the road to GM, but loves doing puzzles and compositions and such. I'm a member of the Chess Book Collectors group on Facebook, which is a huge, very active group. It includes people such as even Nigel Schwartz, a member and a participating member of that group. So yeah, there's all sorts of ways to love chess.
Yeah.
Besides rating.
Yeah, like I think there's just something about chess and chess history and all the tactics and combinations and the storylines. It's just like kind of beautiful, and it can be people who just enjoy it and don't like have any interest in like improving. Really, I feel like that's totally cool. And also, there's a lot of players who are doing a lot for chess who aren't like top 10 in the world, top 20 in the world, and those people, I think they're getting their due pretty much. But like, and I know my sister also feels strongly about this topic. Is that like your chess, whatever you want to call it, your impact on chess isn't always. It's usually not based on your rating. It's based on like so many factors.
Okay, well, I'm going to leave you with a more introspective question, and that's, what has chess meant to you in your life?
Oh man, it's been the best. I mean, I've lived a very good life because, for basically all of it, I've been able to do what I want to do and what I love to do. And that all started with chess. There was like a little poker phase in the middle, but it all began with chess. I mean, you can imagine when I'm like 19 years old and I'm getting paid to play a game. That does something to your like level of confidence that like, you don't have to kind of play by the rules of life that everyone expects. You don't have to go to school and become a lawyer or a doctor. You can kind of just do the thing you love. So to live a life where I've gotten to like kind of build my life around something that's just so much fun and so exhilarating and fulfills me every day. I can't say enough about how lucky it feels and how thankful I am that I've, been introduced to chess. And does that answer? Chess has been really great for me, for my confidence as a young kid too. Cause like, to know that you're really like, to know that there's something you're like good at, like at the level that I was good at. I didn't have to be as good as I was, but like to be as good as I was, it like gives you some kind of confidence that's not easy to replicate in other ways. So just in every imaginable way, it's been great for me.
Well, give the websites. How if people want to learn more about the U.S. Chess School and the Pro Chess League and any other websites you want to give out.
Oh, sure. uschessschool.com is for the U.S. Chess School. The Pro Chess League, you're going to have to wait a bit, but like we're run by chess.com. So chess.com, of course, amazing website. I mean, what they've done for chess over the last few years is like immeasurable. They've just kind of like a lot of people and organizations around the world have kind of all stepped up to the plate to, elevate the chess world. And chess.com is one of those main ones. And I'm so happy to be partnering with them for the Pro Chess League. I like Chessable is a really cool site if you're into chess openings. There was a phase early in the pandemic where I was just obsessed every day Chessable. I've slipped on that. So my openings are a little rustier than they were a year ago, but it's okay.
Okay. Well, International Master Greg Shahade, thank you for joining us on this April edition of One Move at a Time.
Well, thank you for having me. It's been a pleasure.
Great. Bye-bye. Thank you for joining us on this edition of One Move at a Time, which always drops on the second Tuesday of each month. Our theme music was composed by National Master Alex King of Memphis, Tennessee. Our podcasts are produced and edited by Jason Andre at 7 Season Films, Photography, and Media. Please visit www.7seasonfilms.com to find out how to start your own podcast. Our sister podcasts at US Chess are Cover Stories with Chess Life on the first Tuesday of each month, Ladies Night, hosted by Women's Program Director Jennifer Shahade on the third Tuesday of each month, and on the fourth Tuesday, Chess Underground, hosted by our Assistant National Events Director, Pete Karayanis. I hope that you have learned something of value that you can now use to help build chess in your own community. We'll be back next month with another Chess World personality who is helping us advance our mission statement to empower people, enrich lives, and enhance communities through chess.